pollution. So since we have read about the presence of wind, air, everything, how airs are formed, how winds are formed. So due to the air, there is also pollution in the air. This is a very common topic. Everybody knows. Your grandparents might be telling you that the quality of air has decreased from their childhood when compared to today. That time the air was pure, but today the air is completely polluted. Why? Because there are lots of vehicles nowadays, lots of cars, trucks going on. There are lots of factories, industries which burn their raw materials and cause smoke in the air, leading to air pollution. Then you also know, no, pollution certificates are necessary for all the vehicles. Pollution certificate. The amount of pollution emitted by the vehicle should be in a permissible amounts. So what are the causes of air pollution? Increase in the nitrogen and sulfur of the air causes air pollution. When there is increasing quantity of nitrogen and sulfur, it produces nitrogen and sulfur oxides, nitric oxide, sulfur dioxide or sulfur oxides. This affects the quality of air. These are bad gases. So the changes in the quality of the air causes air pollution. So when fossil fuels are burnt, fossil fuels like coal, petroleum, natural gas, when they are burnt, they also emit oxides. So oxides is one major concern which causes air pollution. Then combustion of these fossil fuels leads to increasing suspended particles in the air. These are called hydrocarbons. So combustion of these fossil fuels like coal, petroleum, natural gas, when these are burnt, they emit oxides, and these are suspended in the air. They always freely flow in the air. So when there are combustion of these fuels, there is increase in number of the suspended particles in the air. So these suspended particles are called hydrocarbons. So suppose if there is, all this happens in the hot weather. Suppose if the weather is cold, then what happens? There is definitely the presence of hydrocarbons in the air. That time what happens? They lower the visibility of the air. The presence of small hydrocarbon particles in the air lower the visibility of us, thereby leading to pollution, and this is called smog. So when you see weather apps in your mobiles, sometimes they also show presence of smog. It shows the percentage of smog in the air. That means it indicates the level of pollution in the air, which leads to decrease in the visibility. So next, what are the adverse effects of air pollution? What happens if there is air pollution in the atmosphere? It leads to allergies, it leads to cancer, it may also lead to heart disease. Nowadays you see at the traffic signals where traffic policemen stand, they cover their nose with a nose mask, face mask. Why? Because they want to prevent themselves from the air pollution and thereby prevent themselves from getting any disease. So what can we do for preventing air pollution? Use only the vehicles when it is required. Switch off the engines at the traffic light. Properly maintain your vehicles, because vehicle smoke is a major cause of an air pollution. So let's move to the next topic, mineral riches in the soil. So the next topic we are going to deal is mineral riches in the soil. The next topic we are going to deal is mineral riches in the soil. So as you know, soil is an important resource. So it decides the diversity of the life. Again, the variety of organisms living on the earth is decided by the amount of the soil, because herbivores depend on plants. So everybody depends on plants for their food, and plants are the basic producers in all the food chains and the food webs. Animals depend for their food on plants only. Human beings also depend on their food for plants only. So how is soil formed? Over a period of thousands and millions of years, what happened? The outer surface of the crust of the earth is made up of rocks, right? Lithosphere. Lithosphere is the outer covering or crust of the earth. It is made up of rocks. Over a period of many thousands, millions of years, due to physical, chemical and biological processes, these rocks have been converted into very fine particles called soil. This is the story of soil. Over a period of millions of years, the hard rocky substances, due to physical, chemical and biological changes, converted into small grainy particles called soil. So what are the factors that influence in making of the soil? Sun. So for example, sun. If in the morning there are high temperatures, so these rocks expand in the morning, and in the evening the temperatures go down. So these rocks get contract in the evening. So in this process of expansion and contraction, always it is not uniform. Sometimes equally it doesn't contract, equally it doesn't expand. So in this process it may develop cracks. The rocks will develop cracks. So these cracks will convert into small particles of rocks. So thereby soil may be formed. This is due to the sun. So heating and expansion of the rocks may cause cracks in the rocks due to the presence of sunlight. This will result in formation of small particles of the rocks called soil. So next factor is water. So water. So in the process of cracks caused due to sun, in these cracks water gets into trapped and wears away the surface of the rocks. So how water affects the soil. So the cracks develop due to the expansion and contraction of the rocks due to sunlight. In these cracks water goes and get deposited. So water has the capacity of wearing away of the rock surfaces. Again, if two rocks are rubbed against each other, they get weared off due to the presence of water and get converted into small particles of rock. That is called soil. So this water gets into the cracks caused by the sun and wears away the surfaces of rocks. These rocks will convert into small particles of rocks called soil. Again, in the flowing water, these rocks get washed away. The small particles of rocks get washed away in this flowing water. This will result in formation of soil or sand. Next, wind. So wind also erodes the rocks. Likewise, how water has the capacity of wearing away the surface of rocks, same way wind also has the capacity of wearing away of the rocks. So it causes in the formation of sand. If wind wears away the surface of the rock is developed into fine small particles. Then this causes the formation of sand. Then living organisms. Sometimes you see near your houses in the cracks of the walls or somewhere plants start growing or near the rocks. So what happens? These growth of the plants, the examples are lichen and moss. Lichen and moss grow on the surfaces of rocks or in the walls. So when they grow on the rock surfaces, they develop their roots. In the process of developing their roots, they produce cracks in the rocks. So thereby again the cracks in the rocks will result in small particles of the rocks. These small particles of the rocks result in formation of the soil. So soil is usually a mix of rock and decayed organisms also. The soil also has decayed organisms. There are lots of organisms on the earth. When they die, they decay and turn into soil. The soil is a mix of rock and decayed organisms. So these decayed organisms contribute humus of the soil. Humus is nothing but the moisture content. If there is lot of humus in the soil, it makes the soil nutrient rich and porous. So if you want water the soil for irrigation purpose, if there is lot of humus, the water retaining capacity will increase and the nutrient retaining capacity. All these things make the soil nutrient rich. Because water has some nutrients, air has some nutrients, living organisms have some nutrients. They mix with the rock and make the soil nutrient rich. So soil is a mixture of rock and decayed organisms, and these decayed organisms contribute to the humus or moisture content of the soil. If the moisture content of the soil is good, then the water retaining, water holding capacity will be good. When the water is irrigated, the soil will be porous and will hold lot of water and minerals. So the mineral content of the soil depends on the rocks from which it is formed. Definitely soil has minerals and nutrients. So the mineral content of the soil depends on the rocks from which it is formed. So nowadays modern day farming practices include spraying of pesticides, chemicals, etc. Then what happens? Due to the spraying of these fertilizer and pesticides, the soil will be getting destroyed. The mineral and the nutrient content of the soil will decrease, thereby leading to the pollution of the soil. Then one more thing is soil erosion. How soil erosion occurs? The topmost layers of the soil get washed off. So if the topmost layer gets washed off, those are only mineral rich layers or the nutrient rich layers which are useful for planting crops, sowing the seeds. So if the nutrient rich layers or the topmost layers are washed away, again the rocky layers are exposed in the bottom. So if there is soil will not be useful. That is the soil erosion. The upper layers of the soil washed away due to floods or any other natural disaster. The topmost mineral rich and nutrient rich and moisture content rich soil will be washed away. This happens due to deforestation. The cutting of the forest results in soil erosion. So what we have to do to prevent those topmost layer of the soil retain it, we have to plant many trees so that there will be no soil erosion. So this completes the topic mineral riches in the soil. Let's move to the next topic called water cycle.